Welcome to the Destiny Awakening Interviews, a podcast with Andrew Wayfinder and his guests, bringing you powerful insights, inspiration, and ways to break free, live life your way, and make a difference in our changing and challenging world.
I'm Andrew Wayfinder Renievich, and I'm joined today by Alistair McBride, executive coach, consultant, entrepreneur, and negotiation expert. And I'm really excited to have Alistair because I had a teacher who used to say, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you ask for. And I'd say Al takes that even sharper. You get what you negotiate for. So a very warm welcome to you, Al. And where are you hanging out today?
Hi, Andrew. Great to see you. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm in Dublin in Ireland. I'm back where I grew up. So pleased enough to be here in the run into Christmas now. So it's good atmosphere.
Okay, great. Well, as you know, I'm in London, so probably similar climates and length of days and things like that.
Absolutely. A lot of time for London. I was fortunate enough to be in Ealing there last year for a nice stretch, and a lovely part of the world.
It is. So, well, let's get on to your work and your new program, which sounds really exciting. So Al is the founder of almcbride.com, and if you look into his background, as I have, you'll discover that he has deep roots as an entrepreneur, 13 years starting and running his own diverse businesses, high-level executive coaching for both corporate and governmental clients, academia, where he has a postgraduate lecturer in entrepreneurship at University College Dublin, and also as an art consultant negotiating hundreds of deals with artists, buyers, galleries, and businesses. And based on these experiences, Al's passion is helping leaders with skin in the game become unshakable and successful in their dealings with others, increasing profitability, and winning negotiations ethically and sustainably. Al coaches executives and business owners in many industries, including software, law, aviation, telecoms, and corporate finance, to name just a few. And over the past few years, he's been giving his clients what he calls the psychological edge in negotiation, and has a new program out called the Goliath Negotiation Method. And from the glowing and detailed testimonials from his clients, Al is consistently described as the best, top-notch. Working with Al has doubled our numbers, doubled our results, and so on. So thank you, Al, for your time today. And our title today is Negotiation as a Superpower. And Al is going to show us that superpower in 6 questions. So as you know, we do 6 questions in about 7 to 9 minutes. So your time starts now. So first of all, who is your ideal client, Al? And what's the transformation you help them achieve?
Well, you kind of touched on it there in the introduction, Andrew. You gave away some of the goodies. I usually work, as I say, with business leaders with skin in the game. And what that actually means is a lot of my clients are entrepreneurs, or they own their own business, or they are often some sort of equity partner, so often in law firms and whatnot, or in corporate structures. So that the bottom line is when they do a successful deal, they have some form of benefit of that upside. So it's not just doing a job for a company and they don't see any of the benefit that is intrinsic. That's usually where they very much see that, if I do this deal, if I get even like 5 or 10 or 15% more value in this deal, that will, a lot of that benefit will go to me directly.
I see. Okay. That's
kind of a key thing. But just to answer the question fully, the transformation that I actually give is a lot of people, I move them from nervous and feeling awkward or feeling of being outplayed. Sometimes they're pushed around and sometimes they even feel bullied, to more so a feeling of being comfortable in their own skin, excited. So moving that anxiety to excitement, and feeling dynamic, that they can put their best foot forward into those deals. So there's no more feeling of leaving money and opportunity on the table. This is often the thing where people feel either stuck or a deal falls through, or they couldn't they knew almost scratching at it that there was some other great opportunity there, but they couldn't quite work out what it was with the other side, and they feel that slight sense of loss. They're asking, what could I have done better? What did I miss? So it's about, I give them methodologies for uncovering that hidden value. And that's kind of how regularly we help increase the profitability of those deals, which in itself actually deepens the relationship with their counterparts on the other side and makes the deals themselves more robust, and means that both sides aren't just a commodity to one another. It actually involves that human connection. So that's a lot about what I do. But all of that without, using cringeworthy techniques or having people feel like they have to be someone that they're not. So as you mentioned in the intro, it's very much from a perspective of being human-centered and values-based approach.
Okay, so we're at a little over 2:45, 2 minutes 45. So question number 2 is the biggest challenge they face. And it sounds like it's that being comfortable in your own skin so that you can function effectively. Is that?
That's a big part of it, because, and you're kind of hitting the nail on the head there. Because, look, there's a lot of challenges. One is that,
Yeah, but we just want the biggest one.
With the biggest one, Al, the biggest one. There's an element when there's a lot at stake, and when you have that skin in the game, you're taking it a lot more personally, because you're aware of the potential loss as well as the huge potential gain, which really kicks in the fight or flight response, which means people either get overly aggressive or overly defensive if they're in sort of the flight mode, or if they're falling into the flight mode rather than fight, then they're often wanting to charge to the end line when we've finished and we get it done. So they often miss huge amounts of opportunity or take a much poorer deal than is necessary. And as I said, it makes a lot of those deals far more fragile, because if you've made it difficult on yourself by making too many concessions to the other side, it's often very difficult to even deliver on the deal as it was agreed. This causes huge problems. So that's really the biggest challenge, as I said, getting out of that fight or flight, and then all the problems that come with that.
Okay, so keeping your cool.
Keeping your cool.
Okay, great. So just over 4 minutes. Question number 3. What's the number one insight you can share to help them, I suppose, with that keeping your cool?
Well, that's a big part of it. And part of that is practicing low stakes, negotiation has a lot of different definitions, and there's a lot of overlap, what some people call persuasion or influencing and all these sort of things. So when you start to learn the principles, it's to realize that you have opportunities to practice everywhere, whether you're in a restaurant, whether you're in a store, whether you're talking to loved ones or friends, that there's anytime you're trying to have someone see the world from your perspective, or at least to be open to seeing the world from your perspective, a lot of people would say you're actually in the midst of a negotiation. So it's seeing those opportunities everywhere you go and playing it gently, respectfully, as I say, values-based. We're acting with integrity here, but still seeing that ability to play and to ask those questions, to get the perspectives of the other side, not just on the very top level, and to go deeper. And then that allows them to see your point of view when they feel understood. So as I said, the key insight is practice in low stakes, because there's very, very unlikely that you're going to use it in high stakes when the stress is on, when you haven't been practicing some of these principles, where there's a lot less at stake and less that can go wrong. And as you pointed out, you're dead right. It's about learning to be fully present, but emotionally non-reactive. So that if the person is using charm against you, if the person is highly aggressive or defensive, whatever, that you can stay there in your space with your integrity and let it kind of wash over you. It doesn't mean you excuse bad behavior per se, but you're looking beyond that. So you're looking at the better side of the person, and you're continually trying to draw that out. And sooner or later, usually you manage it. All those defenses subside, and that's where you tend to be able to create deeper connection with the other side, with your counterparts. So they're like, wow, this person is more than I think. I really trust this person, so we can actually go to that deeper level. Okay, so it's about creating that trust and that connection. Absolutely. But it all starts with practicing in the lower stakes. Yeah. And playing, enjoying it. Yeah, well, it's funny. I had a girlfriend years ago, and Patty was so funny because no matter what price she was offered anywhere,
her standard response was, is that the best you can do?
Exactly.
Whether she was buying a rug or a house or anything in between.
And even think of that wording of the question, you know, is that the best you can do? It's different from can you do any better? Because can you do any better? The answer can be yes, but not for you, could be in their head. But is that the best that you can do is a bit more, it's feisty, isn't it? It puts it up to them. Whereas, like, if they say no, it means that there's nothing better they can do. It's quite a big statement. So it's quite a clever question, but you need a certain sort of chutzpah to really deliver that one.
She had it.
I can imagine.
So we're at just not quite 8 minutes. Question number 4. What concept, book, program, or talk has been most impactful for you in this area?
I mean, a series of the more psychology-based negotiation books are ones that I love and I recommend. So things like Getting More by Stuart Diamond, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, Start with No by Jim Camp. So a lot of these, negotiation used to be run by economists and lawyers, and then behavioral economists, the psychologists got involved, and that's where it got far more interesting and far more accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I said, in many ways, I apply coaching and psychotherapy principles to help business people, as I said, control their emotions and their thinking when they're in stress, and then be able to draw out the better side and draw out the similar in the other side, in building trust.
Mm-hmm.
And building. A lot of those books give you some of the key principles. It's one thing to read the thing and be able to do it, but it starts people down that path.
Okay, great. And 8:45, list question number 5. What free resource would you like to share with the audience that would help them?
Well, the free resource I have for people it's at almcbride.com/mini course.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, as I said, it's a little mini course that helps people get on the track to have the psychological edge of negotiation. It's an email every day for a week. It's told often through little stories and incidences. And a lot of people give me great feedback on it. They enjoy it. So, and along with that also comes a negotiation prep cheat sheet. So it's just the first two pages of a much longer negotiation prep sheet. And even then, it gives solid foundational principles that people tend to help gain great clarity from it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that sounds perfect. I mean, it gives you kind of the conceptual framework, some tick boxes and things to do. Because, as you said, it's about the practice and it's about doing little things on a daily basis.
Practice in the process, absolutely.
I agree. Okay, great. And then the last question, What should I have asked? What should I have asked you that I didn't?
Well, I was thinking about a question I do get a lot where it comes down to it. People are like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. And then sooner or later, so look, really, can I really learn this? So are great negotiators born, or can people really learn it? It's a bit of both. Yes, people can learn it. Growth mindset, of course you can. Everyone can improve is what I say. And everyone can improve a lot. And I tend to break it down into two groups of people. You have the nice but nervous, and you have the natural negotiators. Mm-hmm. And the nice but nervous are probably 70 or 80% of my clients, where they don't enjoy the process. They find it horribly uncomfortable. As I said, very literally, as I said, nice but nervous. The naturals problem, they love it. They love the cut and thrust, the game of it, the challenge. But they are stuck in a narrow series of being. They usually have one primary role or way of being and a secondary. And if those don't work, then the whole thing falls through. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can think of some unnatural negotiators in the political sphere at the moment.
I can imagine. But this is the thing, the naturals are very limited in the ways of being, the ways they can be, the roles. And so I help both sides basically become supernatural. So they're both comfortable in their skin. They're both able to be able to change and choose the role and the way of being, which version of themselves, and they can change it during the negotiation. And it makes a huge difference because it means they're far more dynamic and adaptable to the situation and to the other side and what's required. So that, as I said, even natural negotiators, usually very good at what they do, maybe 1 in 10 or 1 in 5 of their negotiations will fall apart precisely because they're too narrow in who they think they need to be successful.
Okay, great. Well, a lot of really good information, Al, and definitely people check him out if you need to negotiate more than what you are asking for or feel you are willing to settle for. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Andrew. Much appreciated.
Thanks for listening to the Destiny Awakening interviews. If you have a friend who would benefit, please share and subscribe to the show on iTunes and leave a review. We really appreciate it. And remember, always use your power for good.